Megyn Kelly rips Zohran Mamdani's post-election speech. She said he dropped the mask immediately. And we're going to play the clip of her talking about it. But she's absolutely correct. He did. Like, he went right to divisive talk. The same person who Democrats were saying he would bring people together and all these other things. He quoted a communist and all these other things. Like, immediately dropped the mask, and he about to drop the hammer when he comes in office. Even Van Jones, Democrat Van Jones, came out and said something about that. And then you had Charlemagne the God, the so-called God. I hate calling him that. Charlemagne the so-called God attacked Van Jones for speaking the obvious that this man, is not who he really say he is. He dropped the mask. He's showing his true colors now. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to play the clip and hear what Megyn Kelly has to say about it. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. You'll find a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account, so follow me there as well. All right, so let's get into this news. Now, this comes from the Gateway Pundit, and they report that Megyn Kelly is not a fan of New York City's new communist mayor, Zohran Mamdani. During her podcast today, she tore into Mamdani over his speech after the election, saying that he dropped his mask immediately and made it look like he was ready to start going after taxpayers to fund his plans. Of course he is. How else is he going to get the funding for it? Where do they think the money is going to come from, out of thin air? You only got but so many millionaire and billionaires in New York City. It's going to have to come from average American citizens or New Yorkers. It's going to have to come from them. But she also ripped him for pandering to foreign nationals who she suggested he sees as his real constituents. And I agree with that as well. He's a foreigner. That's who his real constituents are. That's who he's really working for. Look at all these foreign entities that poured money illegally into his campaign. Finally, she slammed him for pretending to care about working class people who rejected him. It's a pretty fiery rant. So the Daily Caller has more details. They say independent New York City mayoral candidate Andrew Cuomo won with New Yorkers making less than $30,000 against Mamdani by a 48% to 42% margin, according to a CNN exit poll. Kelly criticized Mamdani on her show for his victory speech, in which he thanked immigrants, not the citizens, not the American citizens, not the Americans, immigrants. And he said he would be a champion for the working class. Sure, you're right. Let's just get right to the clip and hear what Megyn Kelly has to say about all this. Here we go.
This guy last night, the anger that he spewed, I mean, he dropped the mask immediately. Mamdani did. Immediately. He got up there and was all but rubbing his hands together,
right,
looking at his new power and what he's going to do to the city of New York. God bless them. I wish them all the luck. And I'm worried on a personal basis because we go to New York, of course. If you live anywhere near New York City, you go for shows, you go for occasional dinners. You know, your kids go. I shudder to think of what he's going to do to it. I mean, we didn't even talk. We spent so much time on the socialism and his radical Islamist ties. We didn't even really spend a lot of time on the fact that he's budgeting, he said, $65 million to trans anyone who wants it, from in-state or out-of-state, minor or adult, on the taxpayer dime. He basically wants New York to be a sanctuary for trans children. Last night in his speech, he thanked every foreign nation known to man. Like the Senegalese, whatever, hot dog salesman, the Nepalese cab driver. That's who he sees as his constituency.
Yep.
Meanwhile, he's up there talking about how this is for the guys who've got the scars on their knuckles and the calluses on their hands. They voted against you, you cretin. They all voted against you. The working class can't stand you. They're not buying your bullshit because the working class never buys bullshit. They can't afford to. They actually have to struggle to put food on their tables and worry about their kids in school and going to a school that's safe and one that doesn't have 45 different languages coming from the teachers because of the mandatory immigration laws we have now. They cannot worry about bullshit. The working class did not vote for you. They know you're a liar. And as I've been saying, a wolf in sheep's clothing. So spare me your speech about how the people with the calluses on their hands. You're from some rich Ugandan family. You're not even a born American.
Yep.
You came over here. You have dual citizenship. Your mother said there's nothing American about you, proudly. Your dad thinks we need to be sure to make sure that we don't unfairly castigate suicide bombers. That's who you are. The working class knows you're a phony.
Yep. Facts. All facts. Last night after the election, Bernie Sanders talked about working people too. The millionaire. Remember when Bernie Sanders first started out, he was against the millionaires and billionaires. Now Bernie Sanders is just against the billionaires because he's now a millionaire. But Bernie Sanders says starting at 1% in the polls, Zohran Mamdani pulled off one of the great political upsets in modern American history. Yes, we can create a government that represents working people and not the 1%. I look forward to working with Zohran as he builds a city that works for all. Oh man, I see it. I know what's going to happen. Everyone knows what's going to happen to New York City, except for the New Yorkers that voted for him. Everyone already knows what's going to happen in New York. But Bernie and Mamdani are not going to do anything for working people except tax them more. Because, again, the money has to come from somewhere. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave y'all comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time. Peace.